is one of those individuals that when it comes to marriages, you can ask her anything, man. We can talk about anything, ask her anything. Sy weet waarvan sy praat. She also heads up a course titled 2 equals 1. And of course, earlier last year, and the beginning of this year, we kind of delved into that. In the coming weeks, we'll remind you of what the course is about again, and you will have couples join us to talk about testimonies and share their testimonies as well. But today, we kind of wanted to delve into something that we picked up last week that we realized, hey, but this thing is a bit deeper. This thing is a bit we actually have to unpack this quite a bit. Now, last week, we spoke about pastors and we spoke about responsibilities that one has when it comes to church and marriage and how do you kind of balance the scales. But then, Vanessa, we also realized that there's so much more to talk about, and we did say we'll have a part 2 on this because then, if we kind of open this up further, then we can also talk about the fact that there's responsibilities placed and pressure placed on individuals, and then as a pastor, what do you do because you are stuck between a rock and a hard place, because Cliff is very reliable, but Cliff also have responsibilities, Vanessa. So what do you do, right? And how do you go about it? So let's delve into that conversation. First things first, let's talk about ministers, okay? I'm saying pastors, but I'm using pastors as an overarching title because now I'm speaking to every leader within ministry, okay? Not just pastors, but every leader within the fivefold. How do pastors navigate this space, especially if they are pastoring a small church and there's so much to be done, to get done, so much responsibility, but there's only a handful of people that can be trusted? I mean, the pressure, right? So how do they go about that, Vanessa?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a privilege and honor to be here. A voorrecht, stel in Afrikaans. So just thinking about your question now. Look, we pastored a small church, and we used to do such a lot. And I think so as people come in, you obviously train, but you're always looking for. I can remember in the beginning, I would do the Sunday school, I would do the youth, I would do the ladies.
Oh, wow.
Until because now people come in and not so confident, and obviously they come in and there's always a willing person that would come and help out, maybe either it's youth or Sunday school, but coming to observe. So one thing is you can either obviously train and coach as we go along, mentor. But I think the mistake that we've made is that I've been the youth leader basically, because there wasn't anyone that I felt like, okay, I want to hand over that responsibility. So initially a couple came and joined, and it sounded and looked all positive, and it's the right couple. And naturally you feel you want to pay attention to something else. Because you feel now, no, this is. But the mistake that we've made is that's why I'm saying mentor and coaching gradually and not just handing over completely. Because now you feel like there's something else that needs my attention. And I think this is a couple, they love the Lord, they are passionate, they are there, and they talk about, no, we've been involved in youth and so on, and just hand over. And we had quite a number of young people. And only lasted 3 months, and they got the trust of the youth, and then suddenly they decided to go to Kukenap, and I felt, where's this coming from? No, they heard from the Lord, and they just left the youth, but it's almost like the youth just won, or they just won their trust, and
boom,
gone.
Sure.
There I sit. And there were so many promises made, planning from their side. And I feel the youth was very, very disappointed. So in that way, I felt I was maybe too hasty. I had to wait a while, or let them maybe just be assistants before I just, hand over. So that is a mistake that I feel that I made. I was too hasty to hand over. Now, on the other side is that now you have also people that's willing. So we had this couple that's also willing.
Yeah.
And then you find that it's actually an overload, and they also don't want to say no because they're so committed, and also just handing over and say, will you do that? Will you over? No, we will do the Sunday school, and we will do life group, and we will do, and many times I felt when I look back now that maybe they were not ready, and
For
they
all
were,
of that responsibility.
yes, and they were but overwhelmed because now, and the other thing is because people are not so used to us. We maybe had those, way back then we had the services in the week, 2 services.
Yes.
And until we went over now obviously to the life group and cell group and follow the Yonki Cho model. But then they were so aware of, and people, that we are always there.
Yeah.
So now suddenly you're also not there, and you just hand over, and in the beginning it's okay, and then you find people that also don't come.
Yeah.
Because now it's almost like, I feel like, that's why I'm saying training is necessary, equipping the saints. That's what the Bible says, equipping the saints. So yes, we equip, but not as much as we should, or as often as we should. And maybe touch base with a couple and say, how are you doing? Are you okay?
And funny enough, this is also part of the reason why many ministers stay on beyond their time, right? Because they haven't trained the upcoming pastors, and now they're so scared to hand over the baton because can I trust Vanessa with this ministry that I've built, or that the Lord has allowed me to build over 60, 70 years? Can I trust Vanessa to take over the baton and to either carry on the good work I'm doing, or to expand it even greater beyond what I could ever do it? I'm scared. And then that speaks into you as a leader. But then that's where the training comes from. I just want to touch very, very quickly on the fact that, do you think that this is the reason as to why pastors place so much responsibility on a handful of people for the church? Because they also experience church hurt, right?
Yes.
Because this couple came, or these people came, you trusted them, they disappointed you, they hurt you, and now you've encountered people who are genuinely trustworthy. And now it's like
Overload.
Because I can only trust you guys.
Yes.
And now, and that's actually a fault within you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, man?
Look, for us, initially, sometimes when you're in it, you don't see it. It takes a time to just take a step back and look at what is actually going on. And sometimes people don't want to speak up. They've got so much respect for you as a role model that they don't want to say, no, I cannot, or I feel overwhelmed. They won't say that. And so now you overload them. And so it's only when you look back and assess in terms of the situation, how are things going? And that's the thing, to assess regularly how are things going, and touching base. And I think we neglected to do that because we were so busy and so much involved. And I think at that time we were also branching out to from Atlantis to Darling, Mamre, Darling. So now your focus and Chatsworth, Kabaskral. And so you are so focused on so many things that you actually just want to, shift some responsibility
over to other
and
people.
not checking up regularly. And so
okay. So now on that, right? I'm the couple that has all of this responsibility that you and John passed on to me as my pastors, né? And it's so overwhelming to me, my excedity, because I've got so much respect and admiration, and genuinely I just love you guys as my pastors. But it's overwhelming because it's consuming my life Monday to Sunday, and I don't have time for my marriage. I don't have time for my husband. I don't have time for my wife. As a couple, how do we balance the scales, and where do we start to say, okay, guys, this is actually overwhelming, because we don't even have time for ourselves as a couple. How do you manage that?
So as a couple being involved in ministry, it is important to reflect and do introspection in terms of personal family time and husband and wife time. And I think the longer we get married, we get comfortable with one another. And we don't see it is important that we must have time. As we're there every night together. But actually, we actually need to have a date night. We actually need to have a night or two that it's not ministry, because later on we just talk ministry.
Yeah.
And we're not talking to one another. I know what I'm talking about, that we've been very, very busy. And we found ourselves also now being busy where we are at now.
Yeah.
Because, and then we said, look, we can do a lot. We've experienced a lot. And I also know there's a reason why the Lord allowed us to experience all that we did, so that we can give back and mentor where needed. And so even us, we had to say, let's reflect and do introspection and say, no, man, we cannot be, is it, I like the example of Mary and Martha, the things of God and the God of the things.
Yeah.
Am I busy with the things of God or the God of the things? And for me to be effective, I can be busy with a lot of things. But am I effective? Did I prepare enough? Did I pray enough into that thing? Now I want to be involved with 3-4 different departments, but I'm not really effective. Or I feel that my children, my marriage becomes neglected.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to reflect and to check, where am I at? Just as you go to work, you look at your schedule. Can I manage all of this? So we must be honest with ourselves. Can I manage all of this? Because when is ministry happening if I work full time?
Yeah.
It's after hours.
There's also that. I've actually forgot you touching on this. You actually have a full-time job as well.
Yes. So you're working full time and you have to come home and you have to manage family. You have to manage marriage, household chores, and the ministry. So one must really be honest with yourself. If I want to be effective, I need to understand what is my strengths and zoom into that. What is my passion? And maybe I've got a passion for a lot of things, but there's always one that's stronger than the other.
And realistically, what can I do and what can't I do?
Yes, and what is my assignment? Because Isaiah 48:15 says, I am called and I have a mission and an assignment. So what is my call? Is my call currently to do 5 different things?
Yeah.
I don't think God will be so unfair to give you 5. He will give you skills and talents, but you have to discern now.
Yeah.
What does God want me to do? Because the sons of Issachar could discern the times and the season. So if you could discern where you're supposed to be, then you're going to be so effective. You will see impact and lives change.
Sure.
And we've seen now that we are becoming again so busy.
Yeah.
So then I said, I don't want to be too busy. Let me not do A and B. Let me rather do this thing and focus on these 2 things maybe and be effective. And a husband and a wife needs to, that's why the Bible says 2 is better than 1. So if a husband sees but wife is just saying yes, then he needs to say, my wife, we need to come into agreement.
Yeah.
There's power in agreement.
I love that. Sure. Just very quickly, 5 minutes before 6 o'clock, news comes up on top of the hour. Before I say bye to you, just very quickly, 30 seconds, 2 equals 1. For those who don't know, what is this course very quickly, and then just how people can get in contact with you.
2 equals 1 is a 12-week course where it's an international course. For when you feel like your walls are cracking in terms of marriage, or you've got a strong wall and you want to just build on that wall, then you come and do the course. And the whole aim is to make impact and empower others. So if you come and you empower yourself, you can actually empower another couple or in your church. How can you get hold of me? Vanessa Willemse, number is 084 910 2032. Or Vanessa Willemse 363 @gmail.com. You can send me a WhatsApp or an email. If you want to become involved or join classes, you can make contact with me.
And if you missed those details, go on to Facebook. You'll catch the full update on Facebook and all of those details. But for now, have yourself a